So that was Oscar Robertson on Mike and Mike last week. Then Isaiah Thomas joined the show praising Steph Curry, but said this is the worst perimeter defense he has ever seen. Stephen A., what do you make of all the Curry criticism?
Well, first of all, I disagree with Oscar Robertson because he came across not showing the level of appreciation that I believe Steph Curry deserves. I also get where Draymond Green's mother is coming from, because in the aftermath of hearing what Oscar Robertson and Isaiah Thomas had to say, she highlighted how there should be a level of appreciation for the greatness we're witnessing now, because every era to some degree is usurped by a preceding era. And we understand all of that. However, although I disagree with Oscar, I don't like what I'm seeing transpire, where there seems a level of criticism being aimed in the direction of an Isaiah Thomas, who made an astute basketball observation, by the way, combined with Oscar Robertson. First of all, let's clear something here. These two are two Hall of Famers, two of the greatest guards to have ever played in the history of basketball. No matter what I think I know, hell, what I know, what Skip knows or anybody else, I would never say I know more basketball than those guys. They just know. So let's respect not just their knowledge, their acumen, but their right to have the opinion that they have because they did it. What I think everybody is missing, Skip, is that Oscar Robertson may have come across a little bit wrong and salty towards Steph Curry, but if you're really listening to what he said and you're really listening to what Isaiah Thomas is saying, what they're lamenting is something that transcends Steph Curry. He's just the immediate byproduct of it, but what they're lamenting is something far deeper, and that is the state of today's NBA game. No hand checking, can't put the elbow on the back, flagrant fouls could potentially get you ejected, etc., etc. If you have had to go through a terrain where rough and rugged basketball led you to where you ultimately graduated to, and then somebody comes along and is the benefactor of new rules that have been implemented that facilitate not just their play but also longevity, because you don't have to concern yourself with the physicality that the other guys had to deal with when they were playing, those other guys are going to have a problem with that. It does not mean they have a problem with Steph Curry. It does not mean that they don't appreciate him playing. What they're saying is, well, how do y'all really know how great this guy truly is if he never had to go through what we had to go through? Now, whether we agree or disagree with that argument, say so, as opposed to looking at them and saying, oh, they're just hating on Steph Curry. I'm quite sure they have a level of appreciation for the greatness that he puts on display. But they were also great, and they had to go through a far more difficult road to that greatness. And that's what they're speaking about. That's what they're alluding to. And I don't think enough folks are giving them enough credit for that portion of it.
Okay, I hear you. I love Isaiah Thomas's basketball mind. I do not know Oscar, but I go back far enough covering the NBA that I covered this sport when basketball was closer to football. And it was roughhouse, hands-on, take no prisoners. And Stephen A., I'm still convinced that little baby-faced, slender Steph Curry would have lit them up too. Now, if you want to convince me that they would hurt him, as in rough him up until they hurt him, if you tell me they knock him literally out of games, you got me on that. And I think their mentality deep down is, I would never let him do that to me. You couldn't do that in my face time after time, because I would, and again, they're not saying they would try to injure him, but they would punish him physically to the point he wouldn't have the gumption anymore to shoot 32-footers in their face. And yet, I watched what happened at Miami this last week. And Pat Riley had his guys roughing up Steph Curry. I know the rules are completely different today, and there's only so much roughhousing you can do. But I think this kid's tough. Remember, this kid grew up in an NBA household. His daddy was a great NBA shooter who played in a tough era. And I think he got taught a toughness from his father and his brother even as they grew up that is tangible to me. He just doesn't look the part. He's so baby-faced and he's so slender. And I think Isaiah and Oscar look at him, he's only 6'3". He's not 6'5" or 6'7". He's 6'3". We could deal with that. He has a gear of quickness that is rare. And if you get up in him, that offense is so finely tuned, he will backdoor you to death, and he usually does. And I'm going to throw this stat at you. Steph Curry leads the NBA in percentage of shots made in the paint. Why is that? He's shooting layups on people. He's clowning people in the paint because he's backdoor cutting them when they get up in him out on the perimeter.
I want to ask you a question, Skip. When Kirby, when Kermit Washington punched Rudy Tomjanovich in the face, you were there, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the era? I'm just talking about that era, even though Oscar Robertson to some degree preceded even that. Isn't that the era he came from?
Yeah.
Now, look at Isaiah Thomas. That's right. Now, look at Isaiah Thomas with the bad boy pistol. So Steph Curry is shooting, right? So guess what we're going to do? We're going to get up on him and send him into the lane. Who was waiting in the lane? Bill Lambier, Rick Mahorn, ultimately Dennis Rodman, stuff like that. What I'm saying to you is that we're not talking about the skill set of Steph Curry. Remember the Steph Curry that up until last year had health issues, constant ankle injuries or what have you, and then right? And we wondered whether or not he was going to be able to survive. Well, Skip, we're talking about an era where Bill Lambier, was it beyond Bill Lambier to step on your foot?
Heck no.
Or somebody to untie, or Dennis Rodman to untie your shoelaces and trip you up, or for somebody to knee you in the groin or something. So what I'm saying to you is that when you bring up all of the skills, we're not debating the skills, and neither were they. What they're saying is that if you were that prolific, they would have the license to go through any measure necessary to neutralize you, and it would veer beyond basketball. So when we look at Steph Curry, as slim as he is, could he take knees to the groin? Somebody stepping or twisting his ankle, or kneeing him in the back, and Bill Lambier,
if you tell me he's hurt,
or Rick Mahorn
I can't
hitting his backside to knock him in. But that's what I'm saying. But that's all they're saying. That's all they're saying.
I think that's what they're
what
saying.
He doesn't have to go through, because you'll get ejected from the game now. That's how the game is changed. That's all they were talking about. All of this other stuff about everybody talking about they need to relax. People need to pump their brakes. They're all-time greats. That's their opinion. They deserve to have it. I disagree with them to some degree, but they deserve the right to have it.
Got it. Let's focus on the Thunder side of things now, though. They lose in heartbreaking fashion thanks to Steph's heroics. Can OKC